love working on old cars, sometimes you come across a problem that can just drive you crazy. And I don't think there's anything more challenging than a good old electrical gremlin to try your patience. The other day, something happened to my wife's 300D that I just have to share with you. It's literally driving me crazy, and as we work through this problem together, I think we're both going to learn something. You have got to see this to believe it, and the only way for me to do that is to get in the car, run through the sequence, and show you the problem I'm having. And I forgot to mention that this problem actually happened the other night while I was driving the car in the dark. So you can imagine my reaction. Watch what happens when I turn on the headlights. They both work, but note that the left headlight is slightly dimmer. Then, when I turn on the fog lights, the left headlight goes completely out. So what's with that anyway? But if you think that's a challenge, watch this next one. When I went ahead and decided to turn the fog lights on with the key on, look at that. The wipers came on all by themselves, and there was absolutely no way I can turn the wipers off with the fog lights switch on. Dim lights I've dealt with before, but this wiper thing coming on when I hit the fog lights has just literally got me confused, befuddled. So all I could do is scratch my head, open the hood, check the headlight wiring, open the fuse box, check the fuses. Couldn't find anything at all, obviously wrong. So I was starting to feel a little bit like these guys here. This is obviously some sort of electrical wiring problem. And since it's centered around this left headlight assembly, I'm going to go ahead and start by removing it and checking all wiring connections. Dim headlights and taillights are usually caused by bad connections, particularly at the ground wires. So I'm going to go ahead and look inside this headlight. First, make sure all the ground wires are connected properly and there's no breaks. Typically on Mercedes-Benz, the ground wires are brown. After looking in here, I don't see anything obviously wrong, so I'm going to go ahead now and check other ground wires. Many Mercedes models have the ground wire located for the headlights just below the headlight and in behind where you can't get to it without removal. This is a very high moisture environment, and it's not uncommon for corrosion to develop around this ground wire contact. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this wire now and clean it with a wire brush, reinstall it, and make sure that it is tight. That ground wire, by the way, looked just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and move up here to the fuse box, open the lid, and check my circuits. Here I can see that the fog light is fuse 4, and both the high and low beam on the left headlight are fuses 13 and 15. So just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and take a wire brush, remove the fuses, clean the contacts, and put brand new fuses in those 3 locations. Before reinstalling the headlight, I'm going to take a good close look at these pins here and make sure there's no corrosion. If they're clean, I may even use a brush on these. Then I'm going to go ahead and look at this plug assembly itself and apply a little dielectric grease to each of the contact points. I'm ready for the big test, but I'm not going to assume that I've solved the problem. So I'm just going to temporarily install the headlight by plugging it in and setting it in place. Well, the moment of reckoning has arrived. It's time. Let's turn on the headlight. Oh, I don't know. And now the fog light. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Looks like it's back to the drawing board. This one's got me frustrated. In fact, I'm about ready to give up on it, but I can't. This is my wife's car. She drives it all the time with the fog lights on, and this car is not going to leave the shop until it's fixed. So I'm going to have to look at the possibility of some other issue going on inside the engine compartment. I'm convinced it's still a ground issue. This happens all the time with other electrical problems. In fact, the other day I had somebody email me saying, hey, I've got voltage going through my speedometer cable. How could that be? Well, he eventually found out that the engine ground strap was missing and the voltage was seeking a path to ground through the speedo cable. So, when you're dealing with electrical gremlins, as I call them, always suspect ground first. I went ahead and raised the car and checked the ground strap from the engine to the chassis, and that's fine. So I'm going to go in the engine compartment here and look for any secondary grounds that might be a problem. Once again, I'm looking for brown wires. Take a look right here. Here's a ground strap, and that's good and tight. I don't see any over here, but looking down a little bit lower here, hey, look at this. I've got a ground wire, and it's loose. I'm so convinced I found the problem, I'm not even crossing my fingers on this next test. Go ahead and take a look. We're going to turn the headlights on. Look at that. And on with the fog lights. They work, and the wiper does not come on. It's a great feeling when you finally solve an electrical gremlin. You can tell I'm happy. I think my wife Linda's even going to be more happy than now she has fog lights. The moral of the story is, if you have some electrical weirdness or some sort of gremlin, always check the ground first. Now don't ask me why the wipers came on. I'm not going to try to explain that, but obviously DC or direct current electricity always tries to follow the least resistance to ground. So somehow the current was feeding back through the turn signal switch, trying to find a ground, and it activated the wiper motor. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to my next electrical gremlin.